Time after time after time, people in the bottom. There's people living in the bottom. Listen to me. See that sister, her shirt was fine. She's buying a drinking wine in the bottom. She told me, oh man committed a crime. He's doing time. Now she's hanging in the bottom. I seen her out there on the avenue all by herself. She sure need help from the bottom. I seen her, preacher man tried to help her. She cussed him out and hit him in the head with the bottle. They turned to me, they asked me, kill me. Don't you think it's a crime? No way. And time after time after time, people in the bottle.
Oh yeah, people show enough in the bottle. With this coronavirus, I'm sure there are more people in the bottle than ever before. This coronavirus is enough to make a man jump in the bottle, or a woman. It is horrible. It's horrible. Hey, welcome to the Reality Check with Charles Butler. It's Monday, July 20th. Where has the year gone, right? Just moved right past us. I can tell you that it's been a blur for me. It has been a blur, to say the least. I have been inundated with projects and just so much going on. So many good things going on, but still things are going on. It's 1 o'clock here, 1:08 here in Chicago. Great time to be here. Let's see, Sharon. And it's just a tremendous opportunity we have to be, I think, living in these times, these dates. It is, what can I say? It's the time when we have anarchy. We have wholesale anarchy. And we have mayors and congressmen and senators who uphold these anarchists. We have real anarchists. We have people who said, I am an anarchist. That's all Antifa is. These are criminals. Criminals. Can you imagine? Let's just step back for a second. Can you imagine if the civil rights movement, if Martin Luther King, and in his marches, they did the kind of damage, attacked the police, the way that these young people are? Could you imagine what would have happened? Could you imagine the wholesale carnage? The answer is absolutely not, right? I mean, here you have people in Portland who are out in the streets attacking the police, attacking people who don't agree with them. I was up in Evanston a couple of weeks ago. Not this week. I should say not this past Sunday, but Sunday before last. And so I'm sitting at a stoplight, smoking a cigar. And, I drive a pretty nice car. It's old, but it's a nice car, right? So I'm sitting at the stoplight, minding my own business. And there are these Black Lives Matter people. And they're on the corner. And they, of course, are doing their thing, right? And, I don't, Black Lives Matter to me is a farce. Black Lives Matter has lost its way. They, again, hijacked. Again, it's the race issue, right? W.E.B. Du Bois said the problem of the 20th century would be that of the color line. Little did he know it would be that of the 21st century, too. Hello. We're still talking about race. We're still talking about this thin little fiber, little membrane. We're still talking about the fact that I have melanin, and nobody really talks about melanin and the power of melanin and what it empowers people with melanin to do and develop in terms of it's a neurological chemical. So that should give you some sense of what melanin does. It's a neurological chemical. Woo. So those who have it should have a neurological advantage. Would you not agree? But science being what it is, like they will try to tell us that an albino is an absence of pigmentation, an absence of color, right? An absence of pigmentation, an absence of color. An absence of pigmentation. Seems like white people, maybe. But, I remember a friend of mine told me, he said that in his medical school class, and the professor jumped all over him. He said, well, you just gave the definition of albino as being one without pigment. That's where I kind of got this from. It's too funny. But, people make up things in their own mind. They have their own perceptions. That's just the way it is. So we have these government officials who go around supporting anarchists. Antifa is nothing but a terrorist organization. I said that in 2017 when they destroyed Washington, D.C. Notice I said they, not they, like Al Sharpton. They and this and that. I mean, just totally inarticulate. And he has a television show. Could you imagine Martin Luther King with a television show? This guy Sharpton is such a charlatan, I tell you. Oh, man. You have to laugh to keep from crying. And black people write, and Reverend Sharpton, and Reverend. They're so stupid. I tell you, you know what I say about that. But anyway, so I'm going to play this little clip from the mayor, the mayor of Portland. He had the nerve to come on national TV and actually castigate the federal troops, the federal agencies for protecting federal property. Now, those of you, and I'm laughing because I'm just thinking, how crazy is this guy? But this is what I want you to hear this from his own mouth, not what Charles Butler had to say. Let's listen to the mayor of Portland. Let's see if we can get this to work. Here we go.
Dozens, if not hundreds, of federal troops descending upon our city. And what they're doing is they are sharply escalating the situation. Their presence here is actually leading to more violence and more vandalism. And it's not helping the situation at all. They're not wanted here. We haven't asked them here. In fact, we want them to leave.
Commissioner, your response to that?
Wow. We want them to leave. Well, what you have, if they leave, is anarchy. But these jokers seem content with having anarchy in their cities because they're not really fazed by it. They're not, dealing with it. Not really. They're not dealing with it at all. I'm looking at something here that says Leonora Cavoto on the website, on Red State's website, instead of Charles Butler. Let's see if it's me or if it's Leonora.
With it at all?
Yeah, it's me, but it says Leonora. So anyway, as we continue to, just so you guys know, I am broadcasting today. It's not Leonora. So this is that's what the mayor of Seattle had to say. Can you imagine that? I mean, think about it. This guy says this is the mayor of Portland. I'm sorry, the Portland, and the mayor of Seattle. She's not much better with her dumb self. she's like, well, we're just gonna let Cord just set up and they can rape and pillage and do what they want to do up in that area. We're just gonna concede that part of the city to these young people. These young people need their asses whipped. That's what they need. They need their asses whipped. What's wrong with society today, what's wrong with these young people today, is they have not had their asses whipped. They need to be spanked. And see, they're too, I often have to correct these young people today. I'm almost 68, 69 years old. And I often have to tell these young people, hey, don't let your mouth and your actions write a check that your behind can't cash. Because, see, these people aren't used to fighting. They're not used to standing. They're like little girls. We have become a feminized society because white men have conceded their manliness. Ooh, that's a hell of a statement. White men have conceded their manliness because they're looking for some sex. I tell you, what happened to the rape, pillage, and take mentality? Well, it doesn't exist among white American men today. They're so sissified. Think of it. Barack Obama, not a white man, but not a white man in terms of complexion, but certainly one in terms of mannerisms, thought, thinking, actions. Totally a racist white boy, Barack Obama. So just totally feminine. They called him the first gay president. He never refuted that. I mean, I wish somebody would refer to me as gay. I'd be right on. No, I'm not gay. Have nothing to do with that lifestyle or that behavior. Sorry. It's an insult to be called gay. I don't know any man that's having gay sex that's happy. It must be one of the most painful things one could ever imagine. Whew, Lord. But I'm not going there. I'm going to stick to the topic. The feminization of America. These Antifa people, they need to be beaten. They need their asses whipped. They need to be bull countered. You remember old Bull Connor? The Emmett Pettus Bridge? They need their asses beat. As that great illustrious philosopher Mike Tyson would say, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Hello. You have to love Mike. Oh man, but it's true. These young people today, they have no respect. They have a lot of mouth. They have a lot of opinions. They haven't done a damn thing. And they just, it's just like, it reminds me of the difference between a marketing person and a salesperson. Two entirely different people. A marketing person gets paid salary. A salesperson is paid on what they sell. Doing something. Marketing person talks about, we put together this campaign and it'll stimulate the business because bull crap. Somebody has to go out there and ask for the order. That is the salesperson who's in the trench, who's in the sweat, who's in the arena, not the marketing person. So we've become a country of non-doers. Why? Took away the draft. What did the draft do for people? It brought all Americans together at some point and reduced them to the lowest denominator, whatever that was. If you got drafted, you came in as a private. With a little education, you may have come in as a corporal. Then you did that for a year. Then you got promoted to a sergeant. If you had a little college education, you showed some smarts. They showed you how to do things. They showed you to put others before yourself. They showed you how to work with the team. Like I used to hear this term, especially from women in the workplace, bonding. Oh, we were bonding. There's nothing to bond about. You have a job to do. Do your job. And see what I find about civilians versus people in the military. People in the military have a job. They go out and they do their job. People in the civilian sector, They look for them to themselves. Some of them look to do as little as possible. There's no team orientation. That's why they hate to hire vets. Have you ever noticed this big push for vets? Well, we need to. Why would anyone have to argue or encourage anyone to hire a vet? Vets show up on time. They're reliable. They're experienced. They understand teamwork. They understand goals. They understand overcoming objectives. So why wouldn't you hire a veteran? Because they're doers. And these people who have never been in the military are scared to death of a military person. Because, these military people are killers. Bring back the draft. The people who helped get rid of the draft, 2 draft dodgers, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Ted Wheeler. That was old Ted Wheeler talking about get rid of the feds. Get rid of the feds. They're causing trouble here. Rumsfeld. Let's see. Destroys draft. Let's see. Destroys draft. Let's see if that comes up. Let's see. Because, Rumsfeld and Cheney were notorious draft dodgers. Yes, sir. Dick Cheney had several draft deferments, and Rumsfeld had 6 to try to get out of Korea. True story. True story. Rumsfeld. Generals who spoke out against Rumsfeld. Well, that's nothing new. What happened to Oh man, this is horrible. They're not talking about Donald Rumsfeld and the military draft. They're talking about his latest, his thing with Bush. But he was part of it, man. Rumsfeld is a little older than he looks too. I mean, he goes back to the Eisenhower administration, where he served as an administrative assistant to Dennison, who was a congressman from Ohio, I think. Yep. But you can never ever really tell about these people. See, when you have to put some skin in the game. When you have to put some skin in the game, where was Donald Trump when it was his turn to put some skin in the game, to volunteer, go to Vietnam? Don't tell me about how much you love the flag, how much you love the country, but you won't serve the country in uniform. I have no respect for these people who try to rail on the flag as if it's their only patriotic clinging, their only patriotic duty. They have claim to a higher sense of patriotism than the real patriots who are serving in uniform. See, because people who are serving in uniform said this uniformly about the NFL protests. It was something like 70 to 80% of the military respected the NFL players' protests because they understood it wasn't about the military. It wasn't about disrespecting military people. It wasn't about disrespecting the flag. It wasn't about disrespecting the national anthem. It wasn't about treason. It wasn't about disrespecting the Constitution. You have people like Laura Ingraham and Tucker Carlson just lying, and President Trump just lying. I wrote Trump a letter on this. I could read it to you. I wrote him a letter and told him he was absolutely wrong. And I wrote the head of the executive director of the NFLPA, Players Association. And I said, look, you cannot let the president co-opt the good work that you people continue to do. You as a league have always done more for veterans, for the military, than any other league. You've done more than the MLB, than the NBA. I don't even count the National Soccer League. That's, who cares? But of the 3 major sports, football, basketball, baseball, the NFL certainly contributes more, man to man, team to team, and as a league. And I said, you should highlight that. Now, this thing about playing the black national anthem at the at the parks. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Rings of the... Who cares? I have one national anthem, and I love the national anthem. And that's what should be played at these ballparks, not the black national anthem. Please. And we had a black national anthem for a reason, because America has always forsaken its black people. We've always been a dichotomy. You know, when you're black and you live in America, you have a duality. The man who explained that best to me is a man named Mel Bradley. Mel used to be the assistant to President Reagan. It took him 4 years to get a job, almost went bankrupt trying to find a job. When white boys walked out of the White House and had 3 or 4 job offers. So when you talk to me about the national anthem, I love the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. I love that song. It's written by a slaveholder, a racist, Francis Scott Key. And in the last stanza, this is true story. You go look it up. In the last stanza of the Star Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Key talks about the former slaves, black slaves, that were fighting for the British. True story. Look it up. 4th stanza of the Star Spangled Banner. And he was talking about these black men who, you know, were fighting and killing white men for the Brits. Oh, say, can you see? Loved it. You can't make this stuff up. America has a glorious past, and we cannot attempt to hide it. Now, these anarchists and supporting these anarchists, I think it's the craziest thing since Looney Tunes. How can you talk about supporting Confederate monuments? How can you in good conscience talk about rebels, they're called rebels. They rebelled against who? The Union. If it were left up to them, we'd have 2 Americas. One United States of America, one Confederate States of America. In one, we continue to have Jim Crow and slavery. In the other, we continue to have industrialization and freedom. Freedom to do what? To pursue the Constitution, to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. So that's what the Confederates wanted to deny black folks, the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Now, why is that? All because of what? The color of a person's skin. Remember, and many of you may have never known this, we had a Fugitive Slave Act. What the Fugitive Slave Act said was, if a white man identified a black man who could have been free, and who was free, freedmen, because freedmen got sent back into slavery because they were black. Had nothing to do with their legal status, because as far as white people were concerned, black people had no legal status in America. And this went on until today. You deal with people who don't feel that blacks have any legal status in America. I can tell you this Judge Flanagan down at City Hall here in Chicago, Ellen Flanagan, a racist, biased individual. If she got hit by a Mack truck, I'm telling you, I'd walk over and pee on her. That's how much I detest this woman. She's despicable, and she sits on the bench. Why does she sit on the bench? Because she's a white woman, a racist white woman. I'm not going to go into that any more than to say this. When she's up for election, there will be billboards up saying this is the face of a racist. And there's nothing she can do about it. It's freedom of expression. I'm using my constitutional rights to exercise my thoughts. Well, when we have a gentleman who's the acting Customs and Border Patrol commissioner. His name is Mark Morgan. And Mark, I like Morgan. He's cool. And, you know, he kind of just deals with things. He's like, oh, really? He kind of deals with these liberals like, you think that we're going to stand aside and let you destroy federal property? Not. I love the guy. He's like, hey, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go and we're going to protect federal property in Portland. And if we have to go to Seattle, we'll do it there. If we have to come to Chicago, we'll do it there. Like last night, I'm coming through Grant Park downtown. And it's that way. So I'm coming through Grant Park and I see all these policemen out in the park. Well, what they were doing was they were protecting statues. They were protecting the Columbus statue. There's a big Columbus statue literally right down this street about a mile. You know, great statue. I've taken pictures of it. Beautiful statue. But it would probably be pulled over, defaced by these anarchists. And these kids actually, you know, people keep calling these protesters peaceful. They're not peaceful. I was listening to this black lady yesterday on television, and she kept referring to the anarchists as peaceful protesters. Could you imagine what this happening to Dr. King? Dr. King's people didn't throw bricks and rocks and fire bombs and Molotov cocktails at cops. Are you crazy? They would have shot those Negroes. And I contend this, if it had been black people at the presidential inaugural in 2017, doing what Antifa did, turning over cop cars, setting cop cars afire, throwing rocks at cops, breaking out windows, you would have had 20 people dead. And they were, well, we had to quell the violence. Oh my God, we had to quell the violence. Yeah, right. So you can't make this stuff up. But let's hear from Mark Morgan, the acting head of Customs and Border Patrol. Here we go.
It's just ridiculous, Brett. It's really just it's actually a stupid statement that's not based in reality or fact. Look, the reality here is this violence began in his city well before we deployed additional resources there. And these individuals we're talking about are not protesters, but they're criminals. Every night, they're willfully coordinating, organizing, and planning to intentionally attack and destroy federal property and harm federal agents and officers. Those are criminals. That's who we're talking about. That's why we're there. And Brett, we're not going anywhere.
Oops, we're not going anywhere. You heard it. I love it. See, I wonder what Biden would do in this situation. I wonder what Obama would do in this situation. I don't think they would do much. I think it would be just like they would act just like the mayors of these cities. Let them run rampant with chaos. Here in Chicago over the weekend, I was just looking at a paper and it said that we had 8 people killed. Only 8. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Only 8 people killed. And 40 wounded. But of those 40, how many are going to die? Da-na-na-na. That becomes the question. Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na.
Good morning to you, Alex, the mayor, and Dr. Allison Arwa.
So some of the restrictions are coming off. Indoor bar service is opening up. They said, look at the restrictions that will take effect March. Let's see. Personal. Okay. Face coverings. Okay. Health warrant. Okay. We got a few things happening here. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. 3 hours ago. The violence. See, here in Chicago, the mayor reacted to the violence over the weekend. And, she put up fences around monuments and things like that. And, I should try to play this. In fact, I think I will, because it's kind of good. But let's see here. It's kind of good to hear our mayor, talk about this issue, because it's serious. It is a serious issue. And let's see here. Let's see. I'm trying to see which article I'm going to pull up. Hort's indoor service. Here we go. All right, let's listen to this. Here we go. Da, da, da. But this coronavirus has really messed up our economy, and it has a lot of people depressed. Nobody's talking about the mental health of a number of our citizens with this coronavirus.
Good morning to you, Alex. The mayor and Dr. Allison Arwady, the city's health commissioner, have warned for some time they would be watching the health metrics, and if need be, the city would dial back if they needed to, and absolutely, that is what's happening on Friday. Beginning this Friday, all indoor bars, those that do not serve food, will no longer serve customers indoors. Maximum table size at restaurants will be just 6. Indoor fitness class will be limited to 10 people maximum. Personal services, all of them, you must wear a mask indoor gatherings.
Wow. I tell you, they've sure shut us down. There's no question. So let's, I'm going to continue with this. Come on.
And turned ugly at the Columbus statue. Several who attended those protests say police were overzealous in their response. Lightfoot responded to that this morning.
We want people to feel safe. Parents they're allowing their teenage children to come downtown to these protests. We can't have a circumstance where a small subset of that try to take over and hijack the peaceful protests and then turn it into a fight with the police. That's not acceptable.
That's not acceptable. I keep telling you, these kids need their behinds whipped. Pure and simple. It's not an either or. They need their behinds whipped. But the question is, will they? And then you have J.B. Pritzker, our governor. He's a trip. I mean, this guy is so full of himself. I call him Little Mao. Our mayor, the mayor of Chicago, I call her Little Stalin. But JB, I'm going to call JB.
Podium, I want to take a moment to address an announcement that came out this morning from the city of Chicago regarding additional COVID-19 related safety measures, including limiting bars to outdoor service. Much like Springfield Mayor Langfelder's action on Friday, I want to commend local leaders taking action to keep their communities safe. And the state stands behind these municipalities in their efforts. Our city and county leaders, with case numbers and hospitalizations rising and localized information about
Yeah. Local leaders, right? Here in Chicago. See, this is what they don't talk about. This is what they've kind of forgotten about and pushed under the rug. Do you remember that de Blasio said and Governor Cuomo said they wanted the hospital ship Hope to come up to where they were? You remember that? And they brought the ship up to the New York harbor, and they were going to fill it up. I don't think they used 10 beds. Well, here in Chicago, we opened up the convention center, and they set up beds for like 1,000 people. They didn't even use any of the beds. They set it up. They went through this big. We're going to have coronavirus victims here, and they didn't have one patient. I don't think they had one patient. But they built this up, and they didn't use it, and then you don't even hear about it now. It's like it never happened. Just like the ship Hope, USS Hope, going into New York Harbor. They don't even talk about it. They don't talk about it. It happened. And guess what? It happened for no reason at all. There's nothing to it. If we continue to count flu deaths the way that these people are, flu deaths, into July, if you're going to count flu deaths around the year round, then I'm sure that in past years, flu deaths would equal the deaths we have right now. So normally you would stop counting flu deaths end of March. These people counted August, May, June, July. So an extra 4 months of flu season numbers. Hello. And if you look at the numbers for normal flu deaths and the flu deaths from COVID-19 or Communist Party virus 19 or whatever you're calling it, coronavirus 19, they'd be similar, very similar, very, very similar. But I tell you, I love Mark Morgan's response. He's like, yeah, we're going to protect the monuments by any means necessary. And if that means getting rough, if that means beating some butt, that's what we're going to do. Like I said, most of these young people need that butt spanked. They need that butt spanked. Now, Stalin Lightfoot, she says that on the coronavirus, she said, I won't just turn the car around. I'm going to make you walk home. Who the hell does she think she is? Did you hear that? I'm not just going to turn the car around. I'm going to make you. I got to get the hell out of Illinois. These people, we have a dictator in City Hall. I'm not going to turn the car. I'm going to make you walk home. Who does this woman think she is? Have no idea. She said Lightfoot has said repeatedly in recent days she will not hesitate to reimpose some of the restrictions put in place earlier months of the pandemic should the coronavirus cases and metrics continue to rise. She says, some of you have joked that I'm like the mom who will turn the car around when you're acting up. No, friends, it's actually worse. I won't just turn the car around. I'm going to shut it off, kick you out, and I'm going to make you walk home. That's who I am. That's who I must be for you and everyone else in the city to make sure we continue to be. Who the hell does she think she is? She goes on to say, I don't want to be that person if I don't have to, but I will if you make me. That's your mayor, Stalin Lightfoot, Mao Pritzker. I tell you, you can't make this stuff up. Speaking of making up, folks have tried to get on President Trump's case for golfing. And this is what I really don't understand, okay? President Trump is a golfer. He's always golfed, okay? Barack Obama was never a golfer until he became president. And I mean, you could tell that the guy is not that coordinated. He's not that athletic. And, he was always golfing. And, I don't know who's golfed more I don't know who's golfed more, Barack or the president. They said, you have these foreign papers who are talking about the president sending federal law enforcement to Democratic-led cities. No, they're American cities, dude. They're American cities. I love it. I love it. I love it. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. So the president, he was cool. And there's a quote I want to play for you real quick. When he was asked a couple of questions this weekend, and he responded. I thought he responded apropos. Now, some people, of course, if you don't like Trump, you won't like what he had to say.
I was doing them, and we had a lot of people watching, record numbers watching. In the history of cable television, there's never been anything like it. And we were doing very well. And I thought it would be sort of automatic, and a lot of positive things were happening. And frankly, a lot of the country is doing well. A lot of people don't say, as you understand, but we have had this big flare up in Florida, Texas, a couple of other places. So I think what we're going to do is I'll get involved and we'll start doing briefings, whether it's this afternoon or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. And I'll do briefings. And part of the briefing, I think, much more so than last time, because last time we were nowhere with vaccines or therapeutics. And let's say that ended 6 weeks ago. We'll start them again. And I think it's a great way to get information out to the public as to where we are with the vaccines, with the therapeutics, and generally speaking, where we are.
Okay. All right.
And so I think we'll start that probably starting tomorrow. I'll do it at 5 o'clock like we were doing. We had a good slot. And a lot of people were watching, and that's a good thing. I think that Kaylee will continue hers at 11 o'clock, just like they were. And I'll be discussing as I call it, the China virus, the China plague. I'll be discussing it. And I'll also be discussing perhaps some other things. But, we're doing very well in so many different ways. But unfortunately, this is something that's very tough, but we're going to get it solved. And I think we're going to get it solved in numerous ways, but the two best would be vaccines.
See, the president's on top of it. Nobody really wants to deal with the fact that this guy is really on top of his gig. He's on top of the job. Now, Chris Wallace, who I can't stand, he's not his dad, that's for sure. He's not Dan Wallace. Chris Wallace, he's such a little imp. He's like, I mean, how do these parents raise these people? I mean, you have Mike Wallace, who's a real man, who's a real, presence. And then you have his son, who's a damn wimp. And he's always trying to be tough. I'm trying to ask the tough questions. Shut up. Let me play, just to give you an example. I'm going to play this clip from this weekend when Chris interviewed the president. Looks like I don't know where you interviewed him at, but it's a nice area. Let's check it out. Yep. But I can't stand Chris Wallace. I think he's a poor interviewer. I think he's always trying to, I gotcha somebody. And people, they don't like that. I mean, I don't like to, I gotcha people. I want to hear what they have to say, and I want them to feel that I'm trusting. Press the president on gun violence, right? Here we go.
How do you explain it, and what are you going to do about it?
I explain it very simply by saying they're Democrat-run cities. They're liberally run. They're stupidly run.
They said the president repeated his campaign's false claim that Democrat Joe Biden supported defunding the police. Joe does support defunding the
It was
police.
always bad, but now it's gotten totally out of control. And it's really because they want to defund the police. And Biden wants to defund the police.
Sir, he does not.
Look, he signed a charter with Bernie Sanders. I will get that one, just like I was right on the mortality rate. Did you read the charter that he agreed to?
It says nothing about defunding the
Oh,
police.
really? It says abolish. It says defund. Let's go.
All right.
Get me the charter, please.
All right.
Oops. Wallace said the Fox did not receive evidence of the Bernie Biden platform and called for defunding. The president later challenged Joe Biden to take the same cognitive test he'd taken. Okay.
I took the test too when I heard that you passed it.
Yeah, how did
it's
you
not
do
the
it?
hard, well, it's not the hardest test.
No, but
And
the
it
last
has a picture and it says,
the
"What's
last-
that?" And it's an elephant.
No. You see, that's all misrepresentation.
Well, that's what it was on the web.
It's all misrepresentation. Because, yes, the first few questions are easy, but I'll bet you couldn't even answer the last 5 questions. I'll bet you couldn't. They get very hard, the last 5
Well,
questions.
one of them was count back from 100 by 7.
And let me tell you,
93.
you couldn't answer
All right, what's the question?
many of the questions. I'd get you the test.
Later in the interview, Wallace asked Trump if he would accept the election results
Can
if
you
he
give
left.
the direct answer? You will accept the
I
election?
have to see. Look, I have to see. No, I'm not going to just say yes. I'm not going to say no. And I didn't last time either.
Oops. I love it. See, that's on CNN. And that's the kind of stuff you get on CNN. And that's okay. You know, we got it. We got what we needed. But you just can't make this stuff up. See, in Biden, Chris Wallace, his questioning was so unfair that it was on CNN. It wasn't on Fox. They put it up on CNN. Can you believe it? I love it. So, here we go. The World Health Organization, that bastion of flakes, too many foreigners. People are sounding alarms over these COVID virus things, right? These parties. And people are coming out partying, man. They're tired of this nonsense. I don't know if I'm going to party or not, to tell you the truth. But it concerns me. I'm not going to lie to you. It concerns me. These COVID cases. And Dr. Fauci and some of the others sounding their alarm. It's very alarming. So, what did we talk about this hour? We talked about the feminization of the American males, which is why we have these anarchists who think they can go around and dictate to us what we do and when we do it and how we think. Because Americans have become soft in a number of ways. See, I don't want you to accept me because of the color of my skin. I don't want you to, all I ask for anyone is to respect me, and I respect you. That's it. We respect each other. That's all. Just respect each other. We don't have to do anything else. Just respect each other. We don't need to get cozy. We don't need to eat out of the same plate. We don't have to sleep in the same bed. Oh, man, I tell you, I missed it. Doctor sound alarm over COVID parties. Yeah, it's going on out in LA, I guess. Zuckerberg. That's a guy who needs to be spanked. Again, an example of an American wuss who tells us that Indians are better workers and smarter than Americans. Who is he? He thinks, it's like Bill Gates. This is a guy who's talked about having a pandemic and talking about culling, like you would cull a herd. You know, when you cull a herd, you go through and you basically take cattle out of the herd and you kill them, you send them to slaughter. Well, Bill Gates has talked about culling the human population so that the earth would survive. He's talked about this publicly. It just amazes me that nobody ties Gates in with this pandemic and the vaccine. He spent something like $300 million. Well, way more than that, because he invested $386 million in a company called Novavad or something like that. Wow. Man. We got a lot of stuff going on out here, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not taking any vaccinations from anybody on this COVID-19. I'll take my chances. You know, at the end of the day, if the good Lord means to take me, he will. So look, it's been great, having this opportunity to chat today, blow off a little steam, talk about how we refuse to stand up and do the right things for sake of not spanking that ass. These young people need their behinds spanked. Simple. It's not, earth shattering. It's not, they just need their butt spanked, man. They really do. And somebody needs to do it for them so that I don't have to, because I will. They just don't, they don't get it. And, I was telling you about my car being attacked when I was in Evanston at Black Lives Don't Matter. They were doing a little demo. And I was like, I was smoking my cigar pen. No, I wasn't really paying any attention, because, it's no big deal. Man, this dude came up and put his fist on my car and, boom, boom, boom. And, I couldn't even engage the guy. Didn't even feel like it. You know why? Because it's just not something that you do. You know what I mean? Why? Somebody's going to get hurt. It's not going to be me, I tell you that. But, you're dealing with these people and you never know who you're dealing with. You're dealing with these crazies all the time. So stay safe out there, people. Keep your head about you when all others are about you are losing theirs. I would say to Lily Victus, but it's getting late. So we're going to get ready to sign off here. And, when you look at TV today, when you read the paper today, just kind of think about back in 1971, 72, when Marvin Gaye released this song and what you were doing. What were you doing? What were you thinking about? Were you in Vietnam? Did you have people over there?
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, Father, we don't need to
escalate.
See, war is not the answer, for only love
will conquer hate. Hey,
you know
we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Hey.
Picket lines and picket signs.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Frank Venucio. Have a good one. Talk to me.
So you can see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?